By focusing only on meat and grocery, we can do those things to the best of our abilities.
No frills, no gimmicks. You're gonna get top quality meat, top quality produce, top quality customer service.
They always tell us, sell it as low as you can. Sell it as low as you possibly can.
And we work hard so we can keep those prices lower.
And that's what Fareway does to a lot of people. They take care of people.
I have one thing to accomplish, and it's that.
Parker McCullum. Burn It Down Tour 2024, June 27th, Wells Fargo Arena. ACM Best New Artist, Parker McCullum Live, with special guest Corey Kent.
Finally got a handle on you. What in the hell does a man?
On sale now at iowaeventcenter.com. Parker McCullum Live.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Hello, and welcome to Two Guys here on Thursday. It is the 27th of June. And just letting y'all know, this is a mailbag episode. So if anything crazy has happened, breaking news, you're not going to get it here. This was previously recorded because Hassel is traveling around to third world countries. And because he's too good to vacation in the United States of America.
I'm not going to a third world country.
Yes, you are.
What?
Where are you going?
I'm going to St. Bart's. It's like a French colony. I don't think it's third world. What do you think? It's just some shithole?
I didn't say that.
You couldn't talk Kristen into staying at the Miami strip club? That didn't...
Get some good food?
Yeah.
I don't know why. That Royce White story just cracks me up still. Here we are a week later. Still just cracks me up. We are presented, as always, by Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. And these are always some of my favorite episodes. We're doing a mailbag one. I do want to remind everybody before we get started, the Parker McCullum show tonight at Wells Fargo Arena. Really good up-and-coming country music singer, and they were excited to get that one. So I'm sure you can still get tickets at HyVeeTix.com if you'd like to go to tonight's show.
I just looked it up, Williams. St. Bart's has no unemployment, no poverty, no gangs, no fast food, and virtually no crime. I don't know why it says no fast food in there.
I've never really been out of the country much. I have been to Bahamas, Mexico, a lot of those types of vacation-y type places.
Now,
but
those are third world countries.
I have heard that when you travel, like you do, that the food is much more pure. Like you come back and you there's not as many like preservatives and all that shit in their food like we
That's
have.
absolutely how it was in Greece and in Italy. Like you're there, you are getting the good stuff. And they don't have a lot of the they don't pump it full of crap like we do here in America, which is one of the reasons we're so fat.
Not me, because I'm going to Game Day Men's Health. I'm down almost 20 pounds.
You're looking good. You're sounding good.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate
Sounds
it.
like you're feeling good.
I am feeling good.
Let's
let's
get into this mailbag.
Let's go. How are we doing this today, Van Wink? So you put out for some questions, and what have you picked out your favorite ones for us? Is that what's going to happen
we'll just
today?
see how many we can get through in 30, 40 minutes. I think I got some fun ones. We got some random topics, some sports related ones, but I wanted to dive into one that I thought, it's a good conversation starter. It comes from Julie. She wants to know who the first college or professional athlete you got to meet as a kid and how it impacted you. Thought that was kind of a fun one to tap into your guys' sports minds from when you were a child.
Mine.
Good question.
Mine was Ozzie Smith.
You got to meet him?
Yeah, because he played ball in Clarinda for 2 summers. We have that. It's like a semi-pro wooden bat league team, the Clarinda A's, and he comes back all the time. Like Ozzie's in Clarinda, it's like his second home, and he's just there a lot. And Yeah, I mean, I probably have 5 or 6 autographed Ozzie Smith baseballs in my office down there. But he was always a gentleman. He was awesome. Like he couldn't have been a better guy to like really idolize. I mean, I wasn't a Cardinals fan because I was already a Braves fan at this point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mom, she's from South Carolina, loves the Cox, and they're all Braves fans down there. So I was born and raised an Atlanta Braves fan.
They call it the Tomahawk Chop. If
the
if
Tomahawk
you're a
Chop.
South Carolina fan that also likes the Braves.
No, but like I was addicted, or not. That sounds bad. I was an Ozzie Smith guy though. Like like now the NBA, you just kind of pick players and stuff. But that's how I was Ozzie Smith. Like he was so cool, and then it came full circle because one of my best friends, his grandfather ran that. His whole family runs that program, that Clarenday's program, and at his wedding, I ushered Ozzie Smith and his wife at my friend's wedding. So like that's my point. Ozzie Smith's just like around all the time in that town. So yeah, really a great impact on me. And one of my favorite athletes in history is Ozzie Smith due to that.
That's great. That's way better than what I have. I mean, I grew up. I have never met any of my childhood idols. I've never met Sammy Sosa. I have never met Michael Jordan. I've never met Tiger Woods. Those were like my 3 guys. But I guess the first one I probably did meet was like I went to a Cubs game with my stepdad, and after the game we saw Sean Dunston signing some autographs like over a fence by where the players parked. And so I had this hat. He held me up. I gave the hat to him. He signed it, said hello, and that was it. I was probably 10, but that was Sean Dunston. He wasn't like one of my favorite players or anything, but it was pretty cool to see him up close and personal.
Okay, funny story about Sean Dunston. So you remember the Willie Mays bat that I told you I got signed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Dunston also signed that bat.
Oh no!
Because he played for the Giants at the time.
Oh,
so we just had it. I know. Yeah, he was playing for the Giants, and Sean Dunston's like in the Giants organization now, so he's like stuck around. But
yeah, it's like, hey, I got this autographed Willie Mays bat. I'm putting it up for auction. Wait a minute, who's that? What's that?
It's like one side's Willie Mays, the other side's Sean Dunston. So
if I'm Sean Dunston, I would like to be self-aware enough. If somebody asked me to sign a bat that Willie Mays has already signed, that I'm like, hey, just keep your bat. Like, let me sign a hat for you.
Yeah. So how did that go down, Van?
I think Sean Dunston signed the bat first, and then Willie Mays signed it. So
that would make more sense.
Sean Dunston, he just must love autographs. Just must love signing autographs.
Real quick, a buddy of mine, Reagan. I don't know if Reagan's listening, but so he tells a great story. We're all a ton of Royals fans where I grew up because it's only like an hour, 20 minutes to get down there. And my buddy Reagan goes down there during his childhood, asks for a George Brett autograph, and he couldn't have been a bigger dick. Like George Brett is a notorious asshole. And they were playing the Yankees that night, and my buddy Reagan has been a diehard Yankees fan ever since.
God.
He was like, fuck you, Royals. I'm going with that team. So it does matter how these people are. It
does. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten to do an interview with whoever, an athlete or a coach, and if it's the first and only time I'm meeting them, like you do judge someone by how they are. I remember I was interviewing Clayton Kershaw on SportsCenter one time, and he was just not having it. And it was he wasn't even pitching that night. It was during the day, and it was his off day. And he just wanted to get in and out, wasn't playing ball, and that's the only time I've ever interviewed him. And so now every time I think Clayton Kershaw, I think of that interview.
Yeah. Which is surprising. He's a pretty good guy, too.
I'm sure there's people out there that they're like, well, I saw Chris Williams at the Cracker Barrel one night, and he was yelling at his kid. So, we probably have had those situations as well, but they do stick with you.
Did you ever interview Adam Wainwright?
No.
Coolest pro athlete I think I've ever interviewed was Adam Wainwright.
Well, how the
Awesome
hell
guy.
are you not a Cardinals fan with your Ozzie Smith
Well,
stuff and your Adam Wainwright?
I was technically
love?
covering the Cardinals at that time. Like, I'm not day to day, but I was down there at their spring training, and I would do these shows for 2 weeks. And Wayno was awesome. Like, he really cool guy. All right, what else we got, Van Winkle? We could spend an hour on that probably.
Oh yeah. So Ryan wants to know, and this is kind of around college football realignment, conference realignment. He wants to know if there's any scenario that Iowa State could ever get an invite to the Big Ten. Do you see that ever being so his example was if they win a college football playoff game or multiple college football playoff
No, that
games.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
The only scenario in which this could happen is if there's severe relegation isn't the word, but if there's going to be severe expansion between the Big Ten and the SEC, where it turns into one of those deals where they're each going to be like 30 teams, and Iowa State's like one of the last picks. Like, not trying to be a dick, it's just the reality of it. And if we start to get that would be how. There's nothing Iowa State can do from a merit standpoint that's going to make the Big Ten go, oh, let's go and no, because there's just not enough fans, and they already have that state with Iowa, so it doesn't make. In fact, I would make the argument that there's almost a better chance you would get an SEC invite because of that, which that's not going to happen either. So that's the only way it would happen is if we have massive restructuring of college athletics and they're just trying to get geographic partners, and Iowa State's still left standing. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, it would have to be just if the Big Ten and the SEC just become this arms race and you're trying to get as many schools as possible, and one's got 30 teams, the other one's got 25 teams, and you're trying to equal that amount. But I think that's very
There's a reason
unrealistic.
all of these schools are in the Big 12 right now. It's because they have not been wanted by these other leagues. Otherwise, they would be gone. Like, do you think Kansas is just hanging around because you're loyal to the Big 12? No. Not the case. Hope
All
that
right.
answers it.
The Olympics are like less than a month away, but when we record this, what is your favorite summer Olympics sport? And what sport should be added to the Olympics? This is from Marco, by the way.
My favorite
Sand
thing
volleyball
to watch.
I love the sand volleyball.
Men's sand volleyball?
No, women's.
Why is that?
Really athletic.
Sand volleyball can be fun to watch, but I don't think there's any question that the most electric events to watch are the sprints.
Those are great.
100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, even sometimes 200-meter hurdles or 400. And my favorite race is actually the 200. Like there's nothing better than going back to 96, watching Michael Johnson come around that turn, because it's a staggered start, and you go around that turn and then boom, just shoot off. I love the 200-meter dash. Swimming is up there as well. Some of those swimming races can
It's
be
fine.
awesome, but it's track and field, and it's the track. It's the sprints for me.
Well, I greatly prefer the Winter Olympics because I like watching the Winter Olympics because I like watching these sports that I never watch other than.
When do you watch? Are you really going to the Drake relays and watching track on a?
No, but yeah, I mean,
that's the only time I watch a track race. Is the
I
Olympics.
watch high school track.
I'm not watching any swimming if it's not the Olympics.
But it is going back.
So you're
going
to tell me you'd rather watch curling just because you don't see
Yes.
it that often? You'd rather
Yes.
watch that than a 200-meter dash final in the Olympics?
No. The 200-meter dash is great. I'm saying I enjoy the Winter Olympics more. We're sitting around. It's freezing here. We got nothing else to do. There's more like
But it's
mystique behind the
usually-
Winter Olympics. I love
It's
my
right
figure
in the middle
skating.
of college basketball season. You're really not
I
clamoring.
do like watching the international basketball. Like, that's fun. Like, and I know that's kind of a bland answer, but especially when the United States isn't just like so dominant where these other countries can compete now.
Was it Marco who asked the question, Matt?
Yep, that was Marco.
He also asked Williams if you could add a sport to the Summer Olympics, what would it be?
Is surfing? Do they surf? That's pretty cool.
Not that I know of, but I don't know.
Yes,
I like
it's
watching...
coming to the Olympics this year, 2024.
Oh, there you go.
Surfing is?
Surfing at the Summer Olympics will make its debut. Its debut in 2020, so it'll be this year too. Yeah.
That's fun to watch. See, this is why I watch the Olympics, so I can watch these elite humans do these like weird shit that I can't do.
So, do you like the X Games then?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like hooked on it, but I like watching it. Yeah.
So some of the
I love watching skiing because it's like those people are nuts.
Skiing is pretty cool to watch. I'll give you that.
Like I can swim. I mean, I can't swim like that, but throw me in a pool, I'll swim. I can swim. I can run.
So some people are saying like
fencing. Now that's a good sport.
Pickleball or UFC, MMA, darts or
wrestling is. I like
do
Olympic
have
wrestling
in the Olympics. So
Olympic wrestling's great. I like that. Representing your country.
What would I want to add? I'm just trying to. How funny would it be to add football and to just see the American team up against any other country in American football? Oh,
what's the one sport where they got guns and stuff and they're riding the horses around? They're like they jump on the horse and then they shoot the thing and then they jump off and then they got to run and do something else.
I don't know. I've never watched.
I like that one.
Really, you like all this fringe
It's called
stuff.
mounted shooting, isn't it?
Yes, mounted shooting.
You know who would be good at that? The guy who bangs the horses time and time again.
Beach volleyball is the best Olympic sport.
I disagree.
I'm with Hassel. I like the track events, the short 100 meters.
So good. Next question.
Okay. Back to some conference / CyHawk talk. Raskolnikov asks, do you see CyHawk surviving past 2030?
Not in its current form.
Yeah, it pains me to say this. I don't think it will survive. Now, you say in its current form. What do you mean? You think that maybe we could see this game every 4 or 5 years? I think you get rid of it, it's done. It's never coming back.
I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe it's law that they play right now. But that could easily be changed. My whole thing is this. Both of these leagues, especially the Big Ten, they're going to be playing 10 league games here before too long.
Yes.
So, it's less about not wanting to play each other, and it's more about wanting to have home games for those other two for revenue.
I also think it's going to be that the Big Ten and the SEC, for that matter, are not going to want to give these other conferences these quote-unquote chances, these
completely
big
agree.
games. Because if you're the Big Ten and you can totally freeze out the Big 12, then all of a sudden that conference becomes even lesser than, don't you think? Like if the Big 12 is only able to play itself and the lesser conferences.
And it decreases their television value.
You're not giving them any kind of platform on your level.
I think it's
I really worry
less
about
the playoff and it's more about, in my opinion, if you're the Big Ten, if you're the SEC, you don't want to rent out Texas going on the road to play, let's say Texas Tech, right? Because they've been rivals for 50 years. But then you're giving your most valuable television product, Texas, you're releasing them over for a week to the Big 12 to monetize that with, let's say, Fox, and ESPN owns the SEC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you'd rather just have Texas play at home against Louisiana Monroe and keep that money.
Yes. So I think what you said is pretty spot on. It might not necessarily be because Iowa wants to end this. I think this could be conference reasons, more political reasons like that than just some new coach coming in or some new athletic director, Beth Getz, saying, all right, we need to be done with this. But I don't think it's going to survive. I don't.
I don't either.
All right, this is a good one that Zach asks, something I thought would be good for you guys to give your 2 cents on. Who had the more impressive start in their first 3 seasons? Was it TJ Otzelberger taking over after a winless conference slate for basketball, or was it Matt Campbell taking over the mess that Paul Rhodes had left?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think back. Campbell's been there for so long. What were those first 3 years like? Was the third year the year that they really broke through and they won those like back-to-back games in
So
in
2016
October?
they went 3-9 overall, 2-7 in conference.
That was his first year.
First year. 2017 they went 8-5, 5-4, and won the Liberty Bowl. Third year was 8-5. 6-3 in conference.
That 2017 season was when they went on the road and won at Oklahoma.
And then they came home and
they beat TCU.
Yeah, another ranked team. That's a good question, but I'm going to say it's Matt Campbell because I remember when he did that and thinking, okay, Iowa State is finally a part of some big-time college football. I never thought they were at that level throughout my entire lifetime, but when they put those couple seasons together, those weeks together, the place is rocking at Jack Trice Stadium. They look legit. That was the first time I ever really thought Iowa State was, at the level of an Iowa. And I think it's tougher to do in football. In basketball, you can, this day and age, just totally revamp a roster right away, as TJ did. Now, I'm not saying that it's incredible what he did. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest turnarounds I've ever seen. But I'm just going to go Matt Campbell here just because of how bad Iowa State football has been throughout its eternity compared to Iowa State basketball.
I'll give you a 2-part answer. The program was in a much worse situation when Otzelberger took over. Considerably worse.
You're saying the basketball program was considerably worse than the football program.
Correct.
Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But Campbell's turnaround, in my opinion, was more unlikely because of what you said with the rosters. And I just think that win at Oklahoma that year, and it wasn't just that win, it was just how they backed it up. They went, I think the next week, won at Texas Tech, and then they came home and beat TCU. And it really set the table for everything they've done since. And they really, listen, it's been an unprecedented run. I know Iowa State fans, it's great that many of you want more, and that's how it should be. But this is the best stretch of football consistently that Iowa State's ever played, and you've done it really in an era too that's been hard. This isn't like the old days where it's like, oh, we're going to develop our guys and we're going to be really good when they're seniors. No, they can leave, they can get bought out, they can, and Matt's found a way to do it. So Matt's been more impressive in that sense. But TJ took over a worse situation, though. That prom roster was a goddamn disaster at the end of it. The culture was horrible. Like, Matt took over and got Alan Lazard and Hakeem Butler and Joel Lanning. Like, there were some good players there when Matt got the job. Mm-hmm. And people also forget, too, that if that Kansas State game in 2015 doesn't go absolutely haywire in the last 2 minutes, Paul Rhodes probably doesn't even get fired. So it wasn't that far off for them being 6-6-ish the year before Matt got there.
Sure.
Hey, what do you say we cheers to the freaking weekend real quick?
Yes.
Thanks to our friends at Steeple Ridge. Hassel's going on vacation. That deserves a cheers. You deserve it, buddy.
Yeah, Hassel needs to bring some of this Steeple Ridge to that third world.
I'm wondering what's
to.
The drink of choice going to be at St. Bart's?
It's got to be rum, right? Like Caribbean rum.
Yeah, usually you go to an island like that, it would be, but I don't know. It's a French place. They speak French. Not that I don't think they're going to have wine and stuff. Like, that's not going to be like this big wine spot.
Do you like French food?
I
French
will
fries?
say that
French
of
fries?
of the countries I've been to, you know, the big food countries like Italy, Greece, and France. France is a distant last.
Yeah, it made me puke once.
Italy was second. Greece had the best food. France has some
Did you
good
see
stuff.
gyros the whole time?
Hassel's already shit all over the French Laundry when he went to Napa.
Oh, French Laundry
so
was terrible.
We know how he feels about French food.
French Laundry was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Last time I puked because of food was a French food place.
What did you have?
It was
Steak
one of those
frites?
No, it was one of those places where they bring you like 15 different layers of the meal.
That's French. That's what French Laundry was like. It was horrible.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the same thing. Threw up.
My wife just sent me a text because she can hear me in the other room. You're not supposed to talk about French Laundry.
It's the one bump in the road you and Kristen have had over all these years.
It's very true.
And Williams, you turned 40 this week, so that deserves a cheers too.
Wow. Happy birthday, buddy boy. I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
going in first. You tell me how the waters are at 40, and I'll join you in December.
It is an interesting deal when you turn 40. It feels different. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It does feel different. When I turn 30, it's just like, I don't feel like, I feel like I'm 25. Thanks to that game day men's health, that testosterone they keep putting in me.
I mean, you just keep taking
for
that.
real,
You'll live forever.
I don't feel like I'm 40 years old.
I don't either, physically or emotionally, and I think more so emotionally. Like I'm starting to feel it physically a little bit. Like my
back's a
back
little
is.
stiffer.
I've got a degenerative disc in my back. Emotionally, though, yeah, I feel low 30s.
I'm a 40-year-old man with the maturity level of a 22-year-old. Like it's. Thank God I have two little girls that have reined me in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, thank you for that. Well, gonna go camping.
Hey, that's a good segue to our next question from Jordan. Jordan wants to know, summer's here. What are your favorite summer vacation spots?
It's Lake of the Ozarks. Redneck Riviera, baby.
I've been to the Ozarks. Maybe it would have been different had I experienced it with different people, but I was with my wife's grandparents who lived down in that area.
Sounds like a hell of a time.
We went to Silver Dollar City.
Oh, God. You didn't do the Ozarks.
Which was like Adventureland. What else did we do? We went on some like it was like a boat, like a river boat, where you had dinner on the boat as it plodded along.
That's not the Ozarks that I know.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. I really.
Mine is you literally put out an anchor and you float around in the cove and just drink all day.
That sounds like a good time.
You would like it. I promise you would like it.
My favorite, I guess, summer trips. It's the Northeast is great. Like we took a trip to Portland, Maine one year when we lived in Connecticut. Just an awesome summer spot to go. But my favorite place in the summer is Cape May, New Jersey. I go with some friends of ours that their family has a house there, and they basically spend all summer there every year. That's what everybody in this town does. It's just like a summer town. Most people don't live there outside of the summer. It's people from Philadelphia coming down, and it's just a beautiful little town on the southern tip of New Jersey. And we're going to be going there in August. Looking forward to it.
What about you, Maddie? You're a Minnesota guy, aren't you? Isn't that what you would say?
I do love northern Minnesota. I mean, we lived there for 3 years. We're going to vacation there next month, actually. So heading up back to Duluth. My favorite vacation place is Lake Tahoe. I haven't been there for a while, but we live there.
Steel Jantz lives.
Yeah, he's up near there.
I've never been up there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the country. This year is awesome. Yeah, we lived up there for a summer. My dad had a job up there, and so we got to live on the lake for a year. So, yeah, got to get back there. It's a cool spot of the country. All right, ready for the next question?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think for Iowa State fans, Williams, who's the most disliked coach that Iowa State men's basketball, women's basketball, football has ever had? Brian wants to know, and the same thing for Hassel for Iowa fans.
It's got to be
Iowa's
Prome,
easy.
right? It's got to be Prome for Iowa State, right?
That's most disliked. It's not like hated.
It's Prome or Chiswick.
Disliked.
Ooh,
I think
Chiswick's a good one.
Chiswick gets a
Chiswick's a good
terrible rap, though. He really laid the
Well, it was just
foundation
'cause of
for
his-
what Iowa
yeah,
State football
you're right.
was. He
You're
brought in
right.
some amazing talent that stayed.
But
for
you're
real.
right.
The fact that he said he was firmly entrenched and then boom, he's gone.
You're right. This gets to like, do fans care about your character more or your like win-loss? Because Prome was a significantly nicer guy than Chiswick was. Like, Prome was a really good member of the community, and now on the surface at least. Maybe I'll tell other stories down the road, but I think Chiswick, though, is probably disliked more.
Yeah. More of a sour taste. Like with Prome, people were apathetic.
People
With
just
Chiswick-
thought he wasn't any good. They didn't
with Chiswick,
dislike
people
him.
were pissed.
Yeah. Like, and when you leave at 5-19 and you haven't really let anybody in, it was very military feeling around the Chiswick program. He didn't really like Prome, we knew his family. Like, you know, he was really good with the media there for a while. He got fired. Like, it just wasn't good enough. It wasn't like this guy, like you said, Chris, the firmly entrenched, and then he just lies to you, and then he leaves without even telling his players. Like, I would say Chiswick. You're right, Matt. From a program standpoint, he recruited a lot of really good players that allowed Paul Rhodes to go and win a bowl game his first year. You're 100% right. I still think he's more disliked than I don't think most Iowa State fans dislike Steve Prome. They just thought he wasn't a very good coach.
Okay, so who would you guys guess it is for Iowa?
Steve Alford.
Van Winks?
Yeah, it's probably got to be Alford.
It's got to be Alford.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
that's easy.
Alford. Yeah.
I mean, what about Fran? Is he getting up there?
I mean, Fran's probably number 2, but I don't think he can catch Alford just for the off the court stuff. The way he left, just hightailing it out of there. He was never really, and you could kind of say this about Fran too. He's also, you know, he's a guy that he's a Northeast guy, Pennsylvania guy, but Alford, you could just like he never really fit in here. Just even though he's a Midwest guy, Indiana, he just never really fit in. His ego was too big. He didn't have great relationships with really anybody in the media, and then
He was kind of a bully behind the scenes, from what I
and then
understand.
fans, you know, you do what you do with Pierre Pierce, and then you lose as a 3 seed in the first round of the tournament, and then don't even make the tournament the next year. You lose the fan base as well, and yeah, it's definitely Steve Alford.
Okay.
I don't think anyone else is even close.
No. Yeah.
And then you take Alford and compare it to Chiswick, and I don't think it's close. Like, I think Alford was just really disliked.
Absolutely, he was. Yeah, I was an Alford fan when he was at Iowa. I wasn't in the media yet. I was still in college. I loved watching, you know, that team in 05, 06, Bruner, Horner, Haluska. They had incredible crowds, student section packed to the gills. But I know he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and then the way he left, fans won't forget that.
All right, Maddie, what do you got next, buddy?
All right, JP's got a question. It's like he had a 3-part question, but I'm going to break it down and I'm going to add my own spin to it, okay?
Okay.
He says, what is the most Iowa food? But I want to throw in a caveat. Let's do the Mount Rushmore of Iowa foods. So your top 4.
Corn.
Sweet corn?
Yeah.
Sweet corn is definitely on my Mount
Agreed.
Rushmore of Iowa foods as well. So we all agree on that.
Hassel got people talking about the maid rights with Jenny Dell making her trip back to Iowa.
I'm absolutely putting the loose meat sandwich on my Mount Rushmore of Iowa foods. There's no doubt.
Loose meat?
That is on there.
Scotcheroos? Could Scotcheroos make a dessert appearance on there?
Bush Light.
Is that considered a food?
I don't know, but it's part of a meal.
No, let's just go Iowa foods. That's not. It's
Well,
not Bush Light.
I mean, this is boring, but don't you have to put a good old-fashioned steak on there? I mean,
How about pork chop?
Yeah, I was thinking of like the breaded tenderloin. The one that's like 4 times the size of the bun.
Yeah, the bun's just like a little.
That is absolutely Iowa. And
ranch dressing?
So no. So I've got my 3 right there. And then my 4th is taco pizza.
Oh, shut up.
Gross.
Oh yeah. Taco pizza, baby.
Nasty.
That's what it is
off
for
my
me.
pizza.
Sweet corn, steak, mashed taters, and Scotcheroo would be good.
Yeah.
What the hell is a Scotcheroo? Is that
What?
that peanut butter
It's
chocolate
like a special
thing?
K-bar. You ever a special K-bar?
I didn't even know that was an Iowa thing.
I didn't either.
Scotcheroos are
Is
more
that an
Rice
Iowa
Krispie. I had never heard of them until I came to Iowa, and it
Really?
changed my life. Yeah, so I think you got to throw a dessert in there. I like that list.
No.
Sweet corn.
Well,
loose
where'd we
meat,
go? I have
tenderloin.
Mashed potatoes.
taco
It's not
pizza.
Iowa.
Taco pizza.
We're not
That
Idaho.
that is an Iowa thing.
Well, I mean, what's a big state fair thing? You know?
State fair thing. They just fry
They do
shit
that
and put it on a
like
stick.
They do that Sunday, the hot beef Sunday. That's a big fair thing.
I'm not a fan of that. That's a good topic though. I feel good about my Mount Rushmore of Iowa food. Williams, you're steak and potatoes?
Yeah, and Bush Light and corn.
Come on. All right, next question.
Okay. If the 3 of us were to hold our own version of the NFL Combine, who would win? Or who would have the best marks?
I'm slow.
I'm slow.
I also have I have a degenerative L5 disc, which is down in my tailbone, so I can't jump.
I feel like I
So you're
do
kinda
pretty good in the
useless.
Wonderlick.
Oh.
I mean,
So you'd be the quarterback, Williams?
Pre-snap guy.
They don't do the Wonderlick anymore, I don't think. Now, in the combine, you have to bench press 225 pounds. Can any of us do that at this point? I used to be able to do that
How many
7
reps?
times. I used to be able to do that 6 or 7 times when I was in college.
And Williams got the gym in the basement. Williams?
There's no way I could do it now.
Never tried that much weight. I would kill
You
myself.
would, you would not be able to do it. But if we
That'd
put
be
on,
a really stupid thing. I am on the tee.
That's right. You do have a built-in advantage.
I am on the tee
in your testosterone treatments.
I
What
think
about
I would
push-ups?
I really do think I would do the best because of the game day men's health treatments that I'm undergoing right now.
How many push-ups do you think you could do in a row without resting?
50 or more?
No way. I don't buy it.
I think I could.
I don't
once,
think so.
but then I'd be dead.
Van Winks, how many can you do in a row?
I know I can do
push-ups
more than 30.
Yeah, in a row. Yeah.
Ooh.
A real push-up, not on your knees.
Maybe
I think
15,
I'd die
10 or
about
15. Maybe 10.
Do you believe Williams when he says he could do 50 or 60?
No.
On a good day, you're like
Once.
feeling.
But then I'm done, though, is what I'm saying.
I don't
Like,
think you could do 50 in a row. Drop down and give me
Maybe
50
after
right
a
now.
tee shot. Maybe after a tee shot.
I
Right
have
after
to have the tee shot.
Well,
Like,
that's true. He's got the tee and he's all hopped up on pre-workout all day long. So it's basically he's Mark McGuire on the juice.
I don't know. I haven't tried. I know I can do, because I do push-ups.
Yeah.
And I
How
usually
many do you normally
like
do?
sets of like 20, and I don't have any problem with that.
Okay. I bet you
So
can't
like
do 50.
I'm just wondering if I'm just gonna gas out. Like how many could I pull off? I don't know. I tried it.
My guess is you could maybe get to 35, maybe. I could beat you on push-ups, I think.
I'm sure you could. You're in better shape than me.
I'm not on the tee, though, and I don't have the
I do think I would have a better Wonderlick. I'm a pre-snap guy. I can look at the defense. The problem is
Again,
once
they
the
don't
snap
do
is
that.
made,
I don't think they do
once the
Wonderlick
snap
anymore.
is made, you have to make the play, and that's where I'm going to have the problem. I don't have the arm strength. I don't have the agility.
I think I have the best arm out of you two.
Yeah, I think Van Wing. I mean, he's taller than both.
I was
of
a
us.
pitcher in high school, so
You're an inch taller than me. You're younger. I think Van Wink's
see over the line. Yeah, you got 10 years on us almost.
Yeah.
Van Winkle's going to win the combine.
My money's on Van Wink's for the combine.
I appreciate that. Hey, Hassel, what did Coach Pepper survive all the off-season moves with the Iowa football program? Seth wants to know.
I do worry about Coach Pepper's job security now that you lose Tory Taylor.
Yeah.
And Tory Taylor, I think, kind of built Coach Pepper.
Well, now they got that Australian punter who was forced to go there.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm worried about.
Is he sleeping under the stairs in a little closet too? Like, did they?
Remember with Williams, the guy, they were like,
so
how'd you end up at Iowa?
Well,
I don't know. They just told me to come here. This is where they told me to go.
I'd never even talked to anyone.
Didn't even know where Iowa was.
I was told that that's where you're going. So I'm here. Here I am.
I don't know if Coach Pepper is going to have as much of an impact as he has in the past now that he doesn't have Tory Taylor.
Well, and you got that elite scheme that this Tim Lester's bringing.
True. He might not even need the punter anymore.
You got all the motion.
Because every drive is going to end not with a punt but with a kick. Either a field goal or an extra point, baby.
Less need for the punting coordinator. All right, Maddie, what's next?
We got time for one more.
All right.
What do you think?
Okay.
I think this one will be good. I think you'll each have a story that you can share with us that'll wrap us up. Our friend Chris Shipley, Cyclone Hulk on Twitter. What's the craziest story you sat on, but now feel like you can finally tell?
Oh, God. Well, Williams, this is your opportunity to talk about that thing you teased earlier in the show.
No, it's
Prone.
too soon. That's too soon.
I feel like I'm an open book for the most part. I've shared stories that most people wouldn't. I mean, the story about me getting handcuffed at the Iowa-Michigan State game, the story about me getting into kind of a fight on the golf course my senior year of high school and getting kicked out of districts and then not being able to play in the state tournament because I laid hands on someone else. I feel like I've given it up to you. Like, if it happens to me, I'll tell you about it. I don't hold this stuff in like Williams does.
Hey, I'm going to throw a curveball at Hassel real quick. Can I do that?
Sure.
And then Williams can jump to his. So this is the last week of the Murph and Andy show as well.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Hassel, can you give me your favorite Hassel Dazzle, or whatever you called it, Chris Hassel Theater that you did on Murph and Andy?
Whoa. Because I probably did 50 Chris Hassel Theaters. I loved those. I put so much work into those, and I think I got like $25 for each one.
You got
I
like
did.
a gift card to Ohana Steakhouse, which there are none.
I got a car wash token.
Seems about right.
I loved doing the Jim Zobbles. The Jim Zobble Made Right commercials.
Hi, it's Hawkeye legend Jim Zobble, and I just got done annihilating a scrumptious made-right sandwich. Man, oh man, I love that loose meat and those onions and pickles and oh, that mouth-watering mustard. I love it. Sometimes when I eat all my made-rights and I don't have any more left and I don't want to have my driver Clarence take me back out to the restaurant to buy some more, I just drink a bunch of milk. And because I'm lactose intolerant, I vomit the made-rights back up and then I can eat them again. Man, oh man, that loose meat's even looser the second time down. I'm Jim Zobble, and when I die, I hope to be reincarnated as yeast so I can come back and be a made-right bun. They can just cut me right in half, and I can just completely surround myself in that loose meat and soak up all that savory grease into my insides. Made-right sandwich. I love them, I love them, I love them.
In fact, I just stumbled across a bunch of these that I had saved on like a little server thing that I hadn't seen since I left Des Moines in 2012. And it has a bunch of those saved. And one of them was it was an Iowa post-game show where I played the role of John Miller was hosting Sound Off on the radio. And it was John Miller, Jim Zobble, and Ed Podolak. And I think it came after an Iowa loss. And I listened back to it the other day, and I thought it was maybe the best thing I've ever done.
Send it over.
From the John Miller, like John Miller's like even keel, but then all Jim cared about was whether or not Ed got his maid right yet. And then there were commercials in there and callers. It was so much fun to put that together because I love doing old men. Pause. I didn't mean to say it like that. I love impersonating old men like Jim Zabel, like Zip Rizzo, like my grandpa, people my grandpa's age. Those people fascinate me. And I got to do that with the Jim Zabel stuff, and I love doing that.
Y'all ready for this?
Welcome into Sound Off on 1040 WHO. I'm John Miller with Jim Zabel and Ed Podolak. We are here in the wake of Iowa's 32-31 loss to Central Michigan.
John.
Jim, how are you?
Hey, Ed. Hey, Ed.
Ed, you there?
Hey, Ed.
No, I'm not here. Hang in there, Ed.
Yeah,
I got to get to
hang
the
in
phones
there,
right
Ed.
now. We start in Cedar Rapids. Tim, welcome to Sound Off. You're our first caller.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump off the top of the Alliant Tower.
Now, Tim, hang
I
on
just
a minute.
can't go
Let's
on
not
like
get
this
crazy.
anymore.
Oh, it's not that crazy, John. He's just real disappointed in the loss.
This guy sounds kind of serious. I think he might actually
Well,
jump.
some people deal with laws in different ways. We all know that, and we support you, Jim.
Well, I appreciate the support, fellas. I really wish it didn't have to end this way. I just can't. I just
Jim,
can't
if
do
you
it.
haven't had a good last meal yet, there's a maid right just a couple blocks
All
down.
right, we're
on
just going to
First
move on
Ave.
right now. I cannot have this on my conscience, okay? Let's go to Dave in Mason City. Dave?
Dave?
Ferenz is done. Ferenz has had it. I think this is Ferenz's last straw. We need to get some new blood in here pronto. I'll hang up and listen to your thoughts on Ferenz.
Thanks, Dave.
Here's the deal. Okay, Kirk Ferentz is making $3.65 million a year through the year 2020.
Yeah.
But when you break it down, and I've talked with mathematicians,
Yeah.
at the
That's
rate
right, Ed.
of inflation by the year 2020, he's only actually going to be making the equivalent of $47,000 a
He's
year.
CEO of a major
Oh,
corporation.
Ed, come on now.
John, let me finish.
let him
okay?
finish, John.
What we need is the donors here in Iowa to step up and start paying some more money so we can give Kirk the raise that he needs so he has some more incentive on the
That's a
job.
great
He
idea,
just
Ed.
doesn't have any incentive right now.
I love it.
Moving on. Rick is in Johnston. Rick, welcome to Sound Off. We're on 1040 WHO.
All right.
Yeah, what I want is just to get your guys' opinion on Mark Weissman.
I love him.
Guys, we need to step aside for a moment here on Sound Off, but when we come back, we'll have more of your live calls on the other side. Hawkeyes falling to Central Michigan today, 32-31. This is Sound Off on 1040 WHO.
Sound off. I love it.
Hey, do you guys have any more of those maid rights? Yeah, go ahead and have mine, Bob.
Is that Bob Brooks?
Yeah, Bobby Brooks just walked right in.
Tell that SOB.
All right,
He
we've got
still
a
owes
bunch
me
more of your live
$3.76
phone
for that
calls
maid
coming
right
up.
I
menu
agree.
I
We'll
laminated
take a
for
look
his
ahead to next week's
grandkids.
battle
My
for
handkerchief,
Floyd
I
of
got
Rosedale.
mustard
This is Sound Off.
loose
1040
meat all
WHO.
over my face.
Maid right mustard. I love it.
There was also one, though. Here's one I will share that is one that people have probably forgotten about, a Chris Hassel Theater, that Keith, I think Keith thought not only would we all get fired, but we would all be canceled. And I think maybe if this would have come out 10 years later, we would have. But I did it's never aired since. I did a Chris Hassel Theater where it was me hosting a radio show, and I was interviewing God. And it was during the Tim Tebow run when he was, he led the Broncos to a playoff win. And I had God on the show, and God had a very feminine voice. and I was like, hey, God, wow, I didn't expect you to sound like that. And God was like, I just don't understand. I've been talking like this for thousands of years, and until recently, no one has said anything about it. And I do it. I'm interviewing God. God's talking about Tim Tebow circumcising little kids in the Philippines. It was a shit show.
Oh, my God.
And it aired before Keith had heard it. And they came back. I was at like Golf Galaxy on my off day trying to find a golf shirt. And I hear that. And then I hear Keith come back from break and just the horror in his voice. And then he immediately called me. I mean, he was so scared. And then that got me really scared. But that was probably, I don't think I've shared that. And I definitely haven't played that. And I'm not going to play it again. But Keith and Andy and Andrew Downs will listen to that from time to time.
I haven't hidden a lot either. I mean, for God's sakes, I've told you guys about my bowel movements for the course of 14 months. You know, like, it's a pretty open book here, too. I think he's maybe wondering about, like, behind-the-scenes, like, coverage stuff. And I really don't hide much there either. There's, like, personal things that happen from time to time. Like, I had one with a coach, but I don't really feel like it's the public. Like, in my opinion, not everything should be public.
There's some stuff that can't be.
Yeah. Like,
just can't be.
Some of the stuff, I mean, it's between one person and another, and frankly, it's none of your business. It doesn't impact how I do my show. It doesn't impact the coverage that we provide. So I don't feel like it needs to be. I mean, I've said a lot of the stories of my fighting with Dan McCarney back in the day.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Tim Tebow God thing, and
I've got to hear. Do you have that?
I think I do, and I just remembered it ends with Michael Jackson coming and knocking on heaven's door, and God yelling at Michael Jackson to get the hell out of there and go back to hell. Michael Jack, he says something about a kid. There's a joke about a kid, and and that's how it ended. Oh my God!
I'm God, for God's sakes! Oh, somebody's here. Oh, you again, huh? How many times do I have to tell you you're not welcome here? Go back to where you belong.
Who was that, God?
Oh, it was Michael Jackson again.
He's not in heaven?
No, he's down with Satan, but apparently he's not enjoying his time at all.
Oh, that's too bad. How come?
Well, it turns out there aren't many little kids in hell.
Oh, God!
See
You know this, too? I know the look that was on Keith's face when he probably heard that. I know that exact look. I can see it in my face, right in my head right now.
And it wasn't just a scared look that would be on his face. It would be an extremely disappointed look. Like he was
I'm not mad, I'm
very disappointed in me for doing this segment. And I think Tim Tebow, there was audio of Tim Tebow circumcising someone in the Philippines, and the knife slipped out of his hand, and he accidentally like cut the kid's tip off or something. And Keith's just sitting there. And it's probably like a 6-minute thing, and Keith they're in it, and he just has to sit in it. And I bet he was thinking, do we dump out of this? Do we dump out of this? Oh, my God, can it get any worse? And then Michael Jackson comes and knocks on heaven's door.
All
right.
Well, now on that note, everybody's going to want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing people hit me up about. Like, I'm not hiding it. Like, this podcast we did at the Dingus Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
On RBTV.
I never heard that one. Yeah, that was one of the questions somebody asked about was
I'm
Better
not
Night
ever going to
Dingus?
release it, and I'm pretty sure I've completely made sure that it's impossible for that thing to ever see the light of day. Because there's people that you all know and love who would not be employed.
Well, and another thing you have to keep in mind with that kind of stuff, whether it's that episode, whether it's the Tim Tebow God thing from 2011, the goalposts move. Like,
yeah, what you can get away with.
Yes. There's certain stuff that we are saying right now that 10 years down the road, we would get in big trouble for.
And we evolve too, right? Like, there's stuff I said regularly when I was in high school that I would never dream of saying right now because it all changes.
I remember when I started high school, it was fine for you to call someone gay. The teachers wouldn't even stop you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But then I remember as I moved along, junior year, senior year, boom, you could not say that. You could not say that anymore. You would get in big trouble for it. So, I mean, that was like a real-life instance of the goalpost moving in a good way. Like, let's be honest, we shouldn't have been saying that. But we did. As kids, you called someone that as a put-down. You would never do it now.
No.
You learned.
Well,
and there's much worse words that kids were using as well. I mean, you go back 50 years, and the words they were using then, my God.
I'm pretty sure we recorded that podcast like 1 o'clock in the morning at the Dingus Lounge on a Tuesday night in Knoxville. And the co-host was the guy, AJ, who owns Dingus. Okay? Like, and this is not a guy, a great guy. I love him, by the way. Very successful businessman. Like, he's a great dude. This is not a guy who's a broadcaster. Like, there's no filter here. And then all of us had been drinking for like 4 hours. Is he's telling these stories about what people are doing in the porta potties during Saturday night at the Knoxville Nationals, right? Like, I'm just glad I had the wherewithal that night to not post it immediately.
Sure.
And I listened to it on my way to our next stop. I think we went to Albia the next night. And I was like, holy shit, like, this cannot ever.
What year was this?
That had to be 7 or 8, 9 years ago, I think. 7 or 8 years ago. And it wasn't even that, like, it wasn't like hateful stuff or anything. It was just like so fucking crazy because AJ just kept leading us down these roads and like, yeah, like I don't think that even exists. Like, I'm almost positive I've completely abolished that from all of my records.
I really hope that you didn't, so I can listen to it at some point. Just me and you.
Yeah, sitting around a fire would be really funny. Like, and again, I don't know, maybe people wouldn't get fired from it, but it's definitely not appropriate.
Man, Shipley trying to get everybody canceled here. What's going on?
Yeah, it ain't happening. Yeah, I mean, I do think though, Chris, like maybe I think this is a good thing for us that we are pretty open with the audience. Like, there's just not a lot. Like, when we don't really hide much here.
I'm looking forward to you telling that prom story at some point, though.
That will have to go out at some point. It's still too raw, like all the way around. I wouldn't feel comfortable airing that yet. Mm-hmm. That's a 10 years down the road thing.
10 years. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that was fun. I love the mailbag episodes.
Yeah, we'll do that again. I hope you're having a good vacation.
Thanks, Maddie. Thanks for picking those questions out. I didn't look at any of them, so I didn't.
Yeah, it was fun.
I didn't know what was coming.
Good questions, guys.
Thanks to all of our audience. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Fareway Meat and Grocery. I'm going to get me a rack of ribs for the old 40th birthday and smoke them this week. I'm looking forward to that. To all of our friends at the Channel Seed, hope everybody's drying out up there in northern Iowa. And we will be back coming up next week here on Iowa Everywhere. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please follow, like, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. For Chris Hassel, for Matt Van Winkle, I'm Chris Williams. Have a great